You are listening to Model Mentality. Welcome to Let's Get Clinical by Dr. Allie. In this segment, I explore connecting the dots between our guests' personal stories and the larger mental health context. You have been listening to our interview with Rachel Hilbert. So let's review Rachel's story. Rachel had a history of mental health symptoms from earlier on in her childhood, including a diagnosis of ADHD, anger, depression, and anxiety around age 12, and was subjected to bullying during adolescence. More recently, anxiety and depression in the setting of several physical injuries, including breaking both of her arms at the same time, led her to have to take a break from her modeling career and to focus on healing. She has been on the road to recovery after these challenges and is modeling again and brave to speak up about what she has been through. What stands out to me from a clinical perspective are first, the early years of bullying, and second, the series of physical accidents that led to a period of depression, during which time she was forced to take a break from modeling, and third, the discussion about panic and anxiety attacks. So what about bullying? Did you know that 20% of students aged 12 to 18 experience bullying, according to the National Center for Education Statistics and Bureau of Justice in the U.S.? When I hear bullying as a clinician, I tune in because bullying is a risk factor for mental health, and it's important to explore how social and emotional development is impacted. A licensed behavioral health clinician can help to do this. Bullying among children and adolescents is known to be linked to adverse health and mental health outcomes such as anxiety, depression, suicidality, and substance abuse, including smoking cigarettes. In Rachel's case, we know from her interview that she found a way to cope through art and dance as a way to manage through the adversity of what she experienced. Did bullying set the stage for her future experience of anxiety and depression, despite her resilience in dealing with it? It's possible. Moving on to her later years, let's revisit her more recent period of injuries. So how exactly is a physical injury a risk factor for depression? Think about it. In Rachel's case, her career as a model requires her to walk, to move, and to be free of injury, which affect her physical appearance and mobility. Her injuries rendered her unable to function as usual. She moved home, and the entire landscape of her life changed. To add to that, she was in pain, and it took time to heal and fully recover. This affected her deeply, and she struggled with depression and anxiety during this time. Physical injury and pain does not imply that depression will take place. However, because it can change the way you live your life and potentially your identity, it's a risk factor for mental health. This is akin to an Olympic gymnast who breaks their leg, a singer who injures their vocal cords and needs surgery and can no longer sing, or a surgeon who breaks their hand and can't operate. All of these physical conditions are unexpected, potentially debilitating, and can impact one's career and lifestyle in a way that was never anticipated. We can't take anything for granted, and this is a reminder of that. And lastly, let's talk about panic and anxiety attacks. What is a panic attack? A panic attack is a discrete period of intense fear or discomfort, and with some of the following symptoms: heart palpitations, increased heart rate, sweating, trembling, and shaking. It usually starts suddenly and then subsides. Many people seek help from urgent care or an emergency room after experiencing this. It's different from an anxiety attack, which really refers to mild to severe anxiety and can present in many forms, both physical and emotional. Panic attacks are common, and if you experience them, it's a good idea to seek help from a behavioral health provider to see what's underlying this. It's when these panic attacks are recurrent and more frequent that it may be panic disorder, which affects about 4.7% of U.S. adults at some point in their lives. Bullying, physical injuries, depression, and anxiety attacks aside, Rachel is back to herself, modeling again, and has been on the road to recovery. She has been personally taking time to reconcile her experiences with her mental health story and to talk more publicly about it. You heard in the interview the power of social support, both for Rachel with regard to her mother helping her with panic attacks, and for Bridget, and how her husband has been a strong support when her symptoms are acute. Both have expressed that not feeling alone is important in getting better. This is why we are doing what we are doing. We are sharing these stories so that you, our listeners, know that you are not alone, that there is power in speaking up and in asking for and receiving help. Hearing stories such as Rachel's highlight why I do what I do, to help people when they are most vulnerable, to help make a positive change. Thanks for listening to Let's Get Clinical by Dr. Allie. Please check our show notes for references and more information on this episode.